Hi, I'm Scott Middleton. This is Jai Traha, and we are Burning Rubber TV.
You also said that wrong.
What? Fuck you.
Good start.
I'm Scott Middleton.
Okay, more enthusiasm, please.
Oh, fuck you.
Cool. All right.
Melissa, there's... you fucking stuffed me on that one. All right. Oh, maybe I'll just introduce you as Rodney.
Yeah, that's probably easier. It is honestly easier.
Nah.
Hello, everybody.
How about you do an intro? Let's see. Yours might be better.
What's happening, everybody?
Hi, I'm Scott Middleton.
And I am Jai Trey.
And welcome to Burning Rubber TV. All right, guys. Let's, being our first episode, let's give you a bit of a rundown of where we're from. So I've been involved in the car scene since late 90s. Yes, I'm old. Started in Summernats, Easternats, and Summernats. Over the years, had quite a few show cars, dyno cars, and various other event cars. I think up in about 2009, 2010, I started judging. I think my first comp was actually down at the Heathcote comp.
Why? Why start judging?
Why started judging?
Why?
I can actually... Rhett Howie's probably the blame for this, is that I actually got pulled into it. Rhett said they had no one else, so I jumped in and did it. After that, Aaron Mackley sort of basically got onto me and said, hey, will you be interested? And basically was a mentor for me for quite a few years, and then pretty much from there, I just continued judging, and even to today, still judging at 11 years on.
Is that it?
No, it's
there's got to be more about you than that.
I'm sure you can ask some questions. You can ask whatever you want, and we can go from that.
All right, I'm sure I could think of some questions. How about we? I'll move on to myself then, just for the time being. So, I started, believe it or not, when I was about 10. And I started this because I would get dragged out of school on probably a Thursday, and we'll get dragged to dyno comps at all the Autofest events. So, your Summernats, your I think there was Murray Bridge Autofest back then. I think there was
Cara, yeah.
Yep. So I get dragged to all those, and I don't know how this happened, but somehow I ended up starting filming for Streetcars of Oz. Don't know how it happened. It just happened. I was like 10 or 11 filming for whatever the DVD company was at the time that was doing a lot of them that wasn't Grunt Files. So, God, I did that for probably a couple of years, and then I remember I think one of the last ones I ever did was the Coral one.
Yeah.
And that was the first time, like, even though I was there constantly watching the burnouts because I was having to film all, that was the first time I ever got interested in burnouts because of Mr. Aaron Mackley. And I vividly remember walking through the pits as like a 11, 12, 13-year-old boy and seeing a panel van with titties painted all over the side. And that immediately piqued my attention. So I remember having to go and sneaking away from whatever responsibilities I was planning on not doing anyway, and going and watching him do a burnout. And after that, I was just like, I want to do this someday. So fast forward to when I was about, I think, 16. And from us basically being involved with the rebuild of the Gippsland Motorplex Bairnsdale Dragway, they decided to start up a thing called Young Guns, which they were going to start letting kids under the age of 18 do burnouts. So I thought, great, that was the perfect opportunity for me. I then bought I think it was a VP Commodore V6.
The red one?
Yep. And went out for the first comp, just put my foot to the floor, blew the car up, and still took home the win.
I'm pretty sure you blew the radiator up. Or
I blew the radiator up, and it got that hot that it did some damage to the engine.
I'm actually pretty sure I actually judged that comp.
Did
actually,
you? I remember too. Getting the points back afterwards, I won by 1 point.
It gets very close for the 6-cylinder guys. So.
Oh no, this was Young Gun. So I was against a V8 panel van.
There you go.
And then after that, I think I had the Commodore until I was about 19. Then I built the Cortina, and around the time I built the Cortina was around the time I started running I started running burnout events for Bairnsdale. And I kept that going. I mostly did test and tunes. Any of the bigger events were handled by outside people. So, like Pete Musa had his, Extreme Power Fest?
Power Fest.
And I think at one stage there was Summernats there too, from memory. And I did that for a while until I think 2017 maybe. I ran my first full comp by myself, and it was quite a success. But unfortunately, due to many factors, that was the last one I did. But now I'm back running test and tunes there. We'll be running more bigger events. We have a lot of that stuff planned out.
Yeah, a few planned out actually.
So, some really exciting events planned out coming up.
Something different.
Yeah, something that I think people are going to love.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess that sort of brings me up to now. I'm probably missing a lot, which I'm sure as we get talking will come out.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's basically my life.
Well, yes. So, as I said, for me, I probably missed a whole heap. But having many cars over the years, I tend to skip a lot and
show cars,
and as much. So
you also never quite got a grasp of how to do go-to-woe.
No, I don't know if it was that because I always went well.
Exactly what I'm talking about there. Too.
I think something happened when someone dared me to actually. I think many years ago, I got a dare of, I bet you can't get the front and the rear wheels on the line at the same time. I'm pretty sure you were actually videoing.
I did get footage of that. That was the first time I met you.
So someone had a dare that they said I couldn't with my old XF, my turbocharged XF, and we're on the line, and I thought, all right, well, bugger it, I'm going to have a go at it. And funnily enough, I think it was about the 5th or 6th quickest time, and I still managed to get both front and rear tyres at exactly the same time.
You pulled it off, but I don't think that was the way they were expecting you to do it.
I think I got just DQ'd, actually. I
believe so, yeah.
But it was fun, and I used to enjoy, these events are just fun. So for me, that's what I've always enjoyed, driving the car. I had a EA Brock, as you said, my XF. I've had a twin-turbo wagon. I've had escorts, panel vans, you name it.
The wagon's probably the one that you're most known for.
The wagon, my twin-turbo wagon is probably the most notable one that I'm known for. But there are quite a few other ones sitting around in the build around the house. So,
actually, funnily enough, the car that I'm most known for is probably the car that I campaigned for the shortest amount of time, which would be the black Cortina. That's right. My very brief stint in a pro car. That was... I mean very brief. That was...
Frankenstein?
Frankenstein. Ford Cortina, big block Chev, tubbed, caged, methanol. I think I did about 4 or 5 comps in it before I realised this is way too much money for me.
I think any time you do jump in a bigger car, that happens.
I think also the other issue too was jumping too quick into a pro car, like my theory being, well, I can afford it, so I'm going to do it, and I don't think I was ready skill-wise either. I think the best thing I could have done was built the WB with the LS, because that was probably the worst car I've ever had to drive. But I learned a lot doing so.
Well, it tells because you did bunch it off every wall at one comp at Stall.
I hit 2 walls in that comp, and I'll never let it down.
That's right. They were both in front of me judging, so of course that way.
Mistakes were made. Well, going through this list, because I put a call out for people to message me questions that they might want answered. I thought this was an appropriate one for you. should judges get paid?
100%.
Yep.
100%. It's like everything else in the industry. I say judges are they're skilled, like a skilled labourer on a work site.
Yep.
100%. I reckon they should. There isn't a large amount of us, and as I said, you're a guy that for one, and over the years I've copped it a few times where people are not happy with the way I judge, and I find myself pretty straight down the line, and what I see is what I judge. Yeah. You're not always going to have everyone, but you've also got to have pretty thick-skinned. You really do when it comes to judging. You've got to be able to, there are going to be people out there, and you know what? People don't always agree with you, but you also got to understand that people see it from one view. They don't see it always from the view you're, I always say on one comp, I was the only guy that saw Pete Gramusa hit the wall. That was at UBC in his F-truck many, many years ago.
Yep.
And I had pretty much I got asked, did he hit the wall or did he not?
I do remember that.
That was the one time I had to say, hey, he did. Like, it's, Pete's a good bloke, but at the end of the day...
I mean, a DNF's a DNF.
A DNF's, yeah, unfortunately, and that's the thing. Like, I could have overlooked that, but for me, I'm pretty straight down the line.
I think the hard thing, too, is finding that line between fair DNF and unfair DNF. Because I definitely, I've been in that position myself where I've been DNF'd when I probably shouldn't have. And I think that's you were judging that one. It wasn't your decision, but I remember us having that discussion, which is, I guess it's the unfortunate thing when you've got people looking here, there and everywhere. It's a hard one. And I guess in my situation, having a car with pipes out the side and getting too close to the dirt, with pipes out the side, flicking dirt up, and they automatically said, you hit the dirt.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, and then I've seen plenty of other times, and actually this happened at one of my own comps where a car hit the wall, but because the judges weren't spread out enough, nobody seen it. And I was the only one that seen it, being the person on the start line. So it can get a bit tricky there.
That's right, and that's all about communication, though. You're only good as the people around you. So at the end of the day, most comps that I do now, I have, if it's 2 to 3 judges, we also have 2 or 3 spotters around the thing. Over the years, I've sort of started to run it that way because you need spotters. They don't have to judge, but they have to be able to actually sit there and be able to see if someone's hit the wall. And that's usually the best way of doing it, because not all 3 judges can see all that's happening. But not only that, smoke has a way of bellowing a certain way. So you may find 3 judges all on one side, because if they're on the other side, they can't see.
Exactly. And I mean, even with the way smoke goes with some cars, you could have judges, over there, and they still may not be able to see it because the smoke's in the way.
100%.
Which I guess that's one of those things where the difference between a good judge and I guess a judge who's not so experienced is being able to listen for things like, a lot of drivers, if they hit the wall, they'll either back off the throttle or pin it.
Yeah.
And it's listening for that sort of stuff. Another thing, obvious tell, stuff like broken taillights.
Correct.
You see that, straight away he's been in the wall.
Definitely also colour change. You can see a colour change on the wall, or if you can see colour change on the car.
There's definite tells of it, and I think that's one of those things is it's a set of skills that a judge has to have, but it's so specific that they're few and far between, like in terms of the good ones. I guess a lot of people will try to jump into judging, and it's not as easy as they think. I definitely could never do it myself. I've judged before. I don't think it's something that I'd ever do at a big comp.
I think that I've been doing it long enough. I think it's just the fact that I'm used to it now. I think in the start I used to double think myself, but now I think I've got a certain way I do things. And as I said, I'm lucky I had someone when I first started that was able to sort of mentor me into that thing, and being Aaron Mackley. So,
and one of the best.
Aaron, if you're watching, mate, to thank you for all the stuff you've done for us.
And unfortunately, I don't think he's judging anymore.
Yeah, no judging. I don't think he's actually doing much full stop in.
The last I seen him was at Holden Nationals at Heathcote commentating.
Yes.
So, good on him. He's always been a great commentator.
Oh, definitely. I think he's an all-round good guy on that one in terms of that sort of stuff. So I actually do have a question for yourself.
Oh,
this is a big one.
go.
Why burnouts? Because if I give a bit of family situation, your family is a drag family.
Correct. My dad has been a drag race for probably more than 30 years. Drag raced indoor slammer, currently
Is it the
supercharged.
Wild Boys?
Sorry, yes. Well, he's in Wild Bunch now. He was Supercharged Outlaws. Now he's in Wild Bunch, which I guess is more of a not really a. There's still a points table, which I believe he's still on top of the points table. Just a subtle flex there, but it's more of a demonstration class than a full blown, Andra, points, prize
having
money at
fun.
the end. Yeah, exactly. So, and my mum also a drag racer before she had kids. So yeah, sorry mum for ruining that for you, but it is what it is. So yeah, why burnouts? Well, I sort of briefly touched on it. Aaron Mackley being one really piqued my interest in it, and I think it come about because besides going into Speedway, I think it was the only sport that I could do before I was 18.
Yeah.
And I'm very much a person of if it's motorsport, I like it. I mean, whether it be drag racing, drifting, rally, burnouts, if it's motorsport, I like it. It just happened to be the one that I could start doing the earliest, and I guess I don't know, I just stuck to it. I mean, I don't compete now. I just do demos here and there in a fairly basic car. I will get back to competing because that was something that was asked as well. Yes, I will get back to competing. But I said this, that I'm not going to go back to competing until I've got a pro car, because there's no point. I've done everything that I feel like I could do in a naturally aspirated car, and it got to the point now where I felt my driving ability was up there. The power level let me down.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess that's probably why I went with burnouts. I do have a car in the build for Drag Challenge. Drag Challenge, eventually it will be going over to the States for Drag Week. So like your street drag car, I do have one of those in the build, which will be exciting.
Yeah,
trying something new. I have drag raced before, but nothing like this.
Wow.
Mostly just no prep surface stuff.
I'm sure I'll be along the way there with you.
Oh, I'm sure I won't be able to get rid of you.
That's right, 100%, especially because it's right up my alley being one of the Ford products. So
correct, Ford car, Ford powered.
That's right.
So definitely one you're going to enjoy.
That's right. So for those who don't know, Jai's father is as Mike's Dyno.
Mike's Dyno?
Formerly Mike's Dyno.
Formerly Mike's Dyno.
Now 308 shop and various things over the years, who did a lot of the dyno stuff, and now is Dyno Innovation.
Dyno Innovation, so he manufactures dynos here in Australia.
So a little bit of information. If you need a dyno, hit Mike up. I'm sure he'll look after you guys. So I'll probably try convince him to get me one now for the plug on that anyway. So
sponsorship.
So next one. How much did you enjoy being actually on TV? For those that don't know,
all right,
Jai.
So this is a loaded question, and I'm going to combine this with another question that I was asked. So I'm going to do this in sort of a two-part thing. So firstly, I was asked if I were to make a documentary on drag racing and burnouts, how would I do it? I think that something that is, what's the right way to say it? Something that I think should be looked into more is, I guess, the different lives and levels that comes within the burnouts. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you're mixing people that have all the money in the world and can build the biggest and best with people who are literally skipping meals to be able to afford to go to the next comp. And I think that's something that's really really interesting. So that's something that I'd want to explore. I'd also want to explore more about, I guess, the sport the cars, because there's definitely an art to it, and I think that's something like you look at America now with the way that they're starting to go burnouts.
Yeah.
They're starting to get the skill level up. Like some of them, you look at them and you go, "Wow, you can really steer."
I think at Power Cruise USA.
Yeah, Kyle Nelson.
Yep.
I stand by that. He's probably the best in America, and I think, given the chance, if he were to come over here, he'd be able to hold his own. Very, very talented driver.
Is it a Ute?
Yeah, it's a Chev S10, something like that. I don't know American cars.
Yeah, we call him a Ute in Australia. That's close enough.
Yeah, he is extremely talented, and I think the way that America's going, some of them will have the skill level. They don't quite have the way of building cars down that we do.
Yeah.
And I've got a buddy of mine over there, Jake, who's got a 6-cylinder Falcon, and I've been giving him tips here and there of how to, I guess, make his car work better for a burnout competition because, yeah, definitely that's the one thing they don't have down. I think it's something that I guess would be cool to explore. So I guess that brings me on to the next topic of an ongoing joke of me being a washed-up TV star. if you've ever heard me joke about that, this is where it comes from. Yeah, it's a long ongoing joke. So, yeah, I was involved in a documentary called Raging Cage. Now, this was
on Vice, SBS?
It was on SBS Vice. This was something that was supposed to be a multi-part series and just never eventuated. I think it just ended up being into like some sort of a failed pilot episode, so to speak. And my personal opinion on what happened there was their initial idea was great, and then they found one aspect of the sport, being the kids involved, and stuck to it too much. Mm-hmm. And I'm not taking anything away from I guess the kids in the sport. Like they still work hard. They're still, nothing gets handed to them. But their original concept was the lives and the backgrounds of different levels of people, how they got there, where they are, how they go about it. You had your lower level being the tollies, as I said before, people that literally had to skip meals to be able to go to the next comp. You had the higher levels, the elite levels being the Earnshaws, who are people that I guess don't have unlimited money, but money isn't as big of an issue to them as it is for others. You then had the ex-criminal being CJ, who burnouts had helped him clean up his act and improve himself and get on the right side of the law. And then I was, I guess, the mental health person. And they had a really good concept going. And then from working with the Tollies and the Earnshaws, they discovered the kid side of it and kind of clung on to it more than they should have. And I think that was where the downfall really come into, because the kids, they're very much, it's the sort of the same story with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not taking anything away from how they got there or what they do, but it's the same story for each of them. And it's just, there wasn't enough diving into different aspects of it.
I think it can be done. I think it was good to bring attention to it, but I don't think it didn't follow up as well.
Exactly, and I know that they had plans for further episodes. However, I guess with the way that the pilot went, it wasn't what they wanted it to be, and it just sort of got scrapped. So my involvement in it was very brief in terms of the actual that first pilot episode. Because obviously I was in it. I was, I think, 19 or 20 at the time of doing it. And I just remember filming for probably what seemed like 2 weeks straight, just constant filming, that like them constantly being there and filming every part of my life. And then the episode come out and I'm in it for all of 2 minutes. Yeah. My big involvement in it didn't come until I think I got an email one day and they were basically saying, Google wants to buy the rights to all your footage. And I remember, like, I messaged, I think, CJ and a couple of the other guys and just being like, I just got this email. Did any of you get this email? And they're, no. And I'm thinking the whole time, it's got to be a scam. But I go back through and it's the same email address and contact as the last one. So I just said, all right. Emailed them back and forth. Eventually I got a phone call and, yeah, Google bought out the rights to all that footage. And it ended up getting released elsewhere. Don't know where. I can tell you exactly when it gets played again because I get a lot of messages about it. Don't know where it was aired, but yeah, that's kind of where that side of things come from, and the ongoing joke of being a washed-up TV star.
That's right. Well, we'll get you back on there. I'm sure we can.
I'm good without that.
All right, I got one more. I got another question for you now.
This is gonna,
This for me, I think we'll have a bit of a chat, and this is probably let's have a chat about what's happening at the moment. I think something that you'll see the video come up of it. Thank you very much to Flinty. For giving it to us. At the event was...
I believe Narragain
Revheads.
So this is a hot topic. When I put the call out for people to send us topics or questions, 3/4 of the messages were about this. So you guys wanted us to talk about it. We're going to watch some of the footage and have a discussion, I guess, as people who have...
Run events, been in events.
Driven in events. Definitely been on the, I want to say be on the staff side of things, but with the way it was treated, I'm gonna not say that. But let's, I guess,
we'll have a quick look.
We can only show so much of it, but I mean, yeah. So here we go. This is from Narragain Revheads. Yeah, so I think this is where I've got the first issue.
Yeah. I think that the biggest thing for me is the commentator.
Yeah, okay.
I think he's inciting a bit much there. And look, there's many stories that'll come out of this. And at
the end of the day, this video only starts from a certain point. We see as he's coming onto the pad. That's all you see.
Yeah.
So in terms of what happened beforehand, we can't say.
That's exactly right. And there's so many different ways that have been told, hey, yes, this and the other. And we're not going to comment
drink driving, staff drinking, who knows? We're not going to comment on something we don't know about.
That's right. The big thing that I have an issue with and on that is the way the commentator has reacted. And I think as a commentator, you have to be someone that directs the crowd as opposed to someone that is saying things about that person. I think that to me, that was something that really I did not. You hear him through the whole thing, commenting and telling the guys to do stuff. I think for me, that's not something someone who commentates should do. And knowing quite a few commentators, I know they feel the same way.
Yeah.
I've spoken to a couple of them, and they said they can't believe that someone had said that stuff. Letting that go, though.
I think the first issue that I seen was the initial arc up by one of the track staff.
Yep.
Don't know who that is. There's ways to go about things. I understand that apparently one of the things they said was they were worried about the safety of him rushing off the pad and if people were walking. I understand that. You had the Bobcat there, block his exit.
That's all you need to do.
I've had to do it myself. You block the exit, you stop him from coming off. Try to talk to him calmly before anything, I think, because at the end of the day, when something like this happens and one person starts yelling, it's your natural reaction to just have a go back. We're all guilty of it.
And I also think that doesn't help is that they were kicking the car and trying to smash a window. That's
one thing that we haven't played here, but before he went out, there was, I think, someone kicked the car.
Yeah.
As you saw there, punching the window. And then now he's gotten to the point where he's
getting
forcibly open the door and trying to get him out of the car. Now, I think this is where it sort of starts to escalate.
Unfortunately, we've got a gentleman that has put an extinguisher into the motor.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at that. Again with the commentator.
Yeah.
You're going to get yourself knocked over.
And
So, see there, someone's trying to forcibly drag him out the car. Of course he's going to try and drive away.
yeah, correct.
I mean, if someone was trying to physically drag me out of my car, I'd be trying to get away too. I don't know. I don't really know what they wanted to happen there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's a case of, as I said, you don't hurt another man's vehicle. You could have done it easier way, had staff off there, got him out of the way, stopped him from coming off, and then worked on that. But I think everything is good in hindsight, and I'll jump on the side of these guys. These guys, it's in the end of the event. They're trying to get everything sorted. I understand that, but unfortunately, as someone that will be insuring the event looks at, that's the last thing they're going to see.
100%. When someone that's insuring the event is going to look at an incident like this, they're not going to look at the incident. They're going to look at how you dealt with the incident. And that's, I think, I mean, if they look, I don't know who they've got for insurance, or that, that's up to them, but, they might find it hard if the insurer does see that and doesn't agree with it. Because obviously it's motorsports. Incidents are going to happen. There's going to be, idiots. If there's alcohol involved, there's going to be people doing stupid stuff. It's all about how you deal with it. So the thing here with the insurance is they're going to look at how the issue was handled. Like being in motorsports, you have issues of all sorts, That's just motorsports. I mean, especially when you've got events where there may be alcohol involved, you're going to have to deal with a whole variety of incidents, and they aren't going to look at the incident. They're going to look at how you dealt with the incident. And I think in this case, I don't know what they do in terms of insurance, but they're going to look at that, and then they might go, oh, yeah, maybe we're not going to insure them for the next one. Or if we do, we might jack the price of insurance up, which is...
I think you can almost look at it a different way. There was I don't know if many people have seen a video many, many years ago of a certain Gemini at Summernats. I think that brings back similar things. But
I think everyone's seen that video.
I think everyone's seen that video.
I mean, when this came out, they were saying that he was doing a knuck and futs.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So, look, honestly, though, I think Summernats basically allowed him to go, just let him go and do that, and then grabbed him at the end. Now, in saying that, there was someone that did something similar, which kicked the panel, but that after that, there was nothing. It literally... They stopped him and then went to him. I think let him get it done and stuff like that, which I think was probably, I'd say, handled at the time better. Obviously, ruining someone's engine is not the way to go.
Definitely not.
But at the end of the day, as I said, you speak to people who run events. Many people were pretty much a bit upset of the way this was done, but
correct.
At the end of the day, you live and you learn. I think it's a big thing, and
I mean, at the end of the day, I get why they were angry. I get it.
Yeah,
I've been there. I understand. They had every right to be angry. Kind of a dick move, really. But at the end of the day, the way they dealt with it was very poor. And I mean, when you think about it too, If you deal with an incident more calmly, you're gonna get a better outcome than, because if you deal with it calmly and you stop him from exiting, and you're being an idiot, cut the shit out. I think it's best you pack your stuff up and maybe don't come to the next one. They're more likely to go back home, sleep on it, because especially if there was alcohol involved. Not saying there was, but there was talk going around. Especially if there was alcohol involved, they're going to go home, they're going to sleep on it, they're going to wake up the next morning, and they're going to go, I was a fucking idiot yesterday, wasn't I? As opposed to what happened here, and I can guarantee he would have went home, woken up the next day and gone, screw those guys, they damaged my car, and it's just going to create a much bigger mess.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
all right, well, moving on for that.
I think I had one more question come through too that I think we forgot about. I got asked, what cars we're keen to see hit the pad next year, whether it be cars that are brand new or rebuilt.
Or new combos.
I think I'll start it off by saying someone new to the scene who I think he's built a very tough car to begin with, and it'll be interesting to see how he adapts to it in terms of skill level, considering he is fairly new to the scene. That would be Tyson Tukia in Livin. I definitely am excited to see that car out and see what he can do behind the wheel of that thing. And I think the second one I'd probably go with is Liam in Stendit. I mean, he's stepping up from a 6-cylinder AU that he's done quite well into LS-powered Commodore.
Yeah, I believe actually that goes into our third one. I think the engine that's in that actually came out of the guy who's the third one in that, which would be Tyree in Duplex. So his car...
constantly evolving, constantly changing.
Definitely.
But
it is his car that I believe the horsepower is probably, I'd say, almost double what he had in the other car. It is, I've heard it, it just sounds so much better. As an engine, it's been purposely built. Obviously, it's been detuned, I believe, a fair bit by the guys at BSC.
yeah,
So I've seen enough of that car. Obviously, he's through my work, we've been supplying him parts. So, but yeah, it'd be good to see those three cars. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Obviously, I believe one of them's getting out on the weekend. I don't know, which is Tyree.
Yep.
Ready for next year, and I think Stendit's still sitting in a garage. I think it hasn't been completely finished.
I think, to my knowledge, he was taking the AU out.
Bringing the good old AU out.
Yeah,
that's good.
Can't go wrong with an AU. And actually to chuck a fourth car in, probably, hopefully, if it gets finished by next year, a certain podcast communal burnout car.
There will be one, yes, definitely.
That we are very excited to build. It's going to be something different, something tubbed and low.
And loud.
So stay tuned for that. We'll probably do a full build video.
Yes, well, along the way.
So, in the last couple of weeks, Summernats has released the Masters and Wildcards list. So, why don't we start right here? The Wildcards. So you've got, and I apologise for butchering some of these names, Aaron Schlig in To Impress, Aidan Stampalia in Wreckage, Aidan Wernick in Punter, Anthony Pagey, Billy Seaton on Tick, Chris Orchard, Game Over, Clint Ogilvie, Front Back, Craig Ingold, Gus Boy, Craig Meston, Pinky, Danny Eunice, Fuck Yeah, Frank Paisel, Rub One Out, Graham Rowe, Gamble, Gregory Holland, Dr. Steve, Jack Hobbs, I Just Ate You, Jake Harris, Tater Chip, Jay Duca, RX26B, Joel Sykes, Let's Go, Mark Johnson, Why Not, Nathan Sutherland's Killer Set, Owen Rice, Fried, Ryan Pearson, Hold On, Steve Robson, Spotto57, Steve Titcomb, Dragon, Tim Barbie in Mojo, and Todd Stewart in Unfazed. So quite a big list there. Quite a decent list. Probably a few bigger guys missing, I'd say.
I think there's a few definitely missing at the moment. The biggest one I can see out there is there's a couple that UC Smoke would be probably one that I think that always seems to have a go.
I mean, keep in mind, do we know if these people have entered?
I believe I saw UC Smoke out at Heathcote last weekend.
Okay, so yeah.
So I think he's getting ready. He probably hasn't had the best run of any of the big guys at Summernats.
I'd agree with that actually.
But I think every other show he always, he goes up to Sydney. I think every time he goes to Sydney, he really does impress. He's gone up to Queensland a few times over the last couple of years as well, and as I said, he always seems to do well. So I think this year it's a chance for him to get the yips, maybe just go into the normal one, get a win, get himself into the Masters for next year. Although seeing that list, I've seen a lot of guys that are from WA, and with current COVID situations, we just don't know whether they're going to come. I also have seen a car that has actually been sold.
Correct. That would be Jack Hobbs.
Jack Hobbs, yeah, I just ate you. So
Who'd that go to?
Kunva, I
Did
think.
it?
Yes.
So Kunva ended up with both of his old cars.
Yeah, he has.
Oh, there you go.
Look, I can see there may be a couple of extras. Obviously,
there'll be stuff chucked in last minute, like always, as people pull out.
Yeah, so there's one in there I really don't know much about, which is a Jay Duca and his RX26B. I believe it's an RX3 from what
we could find.
What we could find, but
there wasn't a lot on that one, to be honest.
If you haven't seen his videos, he had a VN, I think, with a 13B.
From what I could see, looked like a rotary VN, which is that's different.
It was doing the rounds on Facebook. So
look, with everything taken into consideration in the list, I mean, what is it? 3 that go through?
Top three.
So what would be your pick for the 3 to go?
Look, if the WA guys can come over, I think you'll see probably Pagey. Pagey always pretty consistent.
NA now, isn't he?
Oh, he's the NA.
I think he's NA from the last video I seen.
Right, okay.
Yep.
He's always done a decent skid anyway. Clint Ogilvy's on his way back. He could come back and start in the wild cards, make the Masters. You never know. I think the last couple of times I've seen him out, he's actually set the back on fire. So
yeah, I do have quite a good video of that too.
Yeah, so I think for me, yeah, he might be in there.
It also, I mean, realistically, when you think about it, it's a relatively new car too. I know it's the same car, but new setup. He hasn't had a lot of time to test it, so it's all, if he's got a hang of the car, if he's got a hang of the little bugs of the car too, I think definitely he'd have a chance of doing well.
So my actual, I think for me, the next 2 would be Ryan Pearson. Car smashes tyres, big, loud, on the pedal,
but again,
all the time.
He's another one that's had a lot of fires lately.
Yeah, look, and that's the thing.
And I mean, with the Summernats hot weather that you get a lot of the time, that can really play into consideration too.
And the last one is Mojo. I think Tim Barbie has done probably. I think the last one he just missed out on making the Masters top 10. He came, I believe, he got through on the wild card from the last one as well. So he only just missed out. So I can't. Probably for me, that'd be my 3rd one on that. Yourself?
Look, all right. So taking into consideration that maybe the WA guys can't show up. I mean, if they can, I definitely would say I'd put Pagey up there, NA or not.
Yeah.
Can still steer, still knows how to work every inch of that pad. The other one that I think I'd put in there from WA is Wreckage. The only reason being is because I think that from what I've seen of when the car was NA, he could steer and he could work the pad. If he gets a hold of this new blown combo, I definitely think that he'd have a chance.
I also think Chris Orchard, probably another one from WA who's got in there. I think.
Yeah.
So, look, I believe it's not his VL. I believe it's another car.
Is it VE?
VE. Yeah. So I think, from what I've seen, really stout combo. Obviously, I'm pretty sure he does He has. Same combo or similar combo to what he had in the VL.
Yeah, okay.
I could be wrong.
I haven't
Chris, you can always
of him, so
you could always message me and correct me if I'm wrong. So, but yeah, so I think he has pretty similar combo. It's a B&R engine, I would say, most likely, being that most of these things from Brett Nidry. So, like Ryan Pearson's Hold On, they are built to. Yeah, really be loud and go hard. So,
and I think for my last one, Mojo for sure. I mean, he's done quite well at Summernats in the past. I mean, I don't think he's ever been top 10, but it's still done really well.
And his missus makes great sausage rolls. But there you go.
That's something I don't know about. But
always looked after me when I'm judging an event, so it's all good.
But there is a couple that I think have stood out that I don't think I've seen for a while that by the looks of it are coming back. Why not? Yeah. I haven't seen that in quite a long time.
And that's the Ute.
Rodeo,
yeah.
Yep.
So that comes out. I think a few times he's gone to a few, but obviously you got to remember we've had 2 years of where we've basically not been doing much. So there has been a couple of comps here and there that have gone through, but it's going to be interesting to see how we go. Obviously, Summernats, it's one of the biggest comps of the year, and guys can step up. So
there's another one there. Danny Eunice, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Look, I mean, I feel like he's been very on and off in doing burnouts. I mean, I think he's probably does more demos than he does competitions.
I'm pretty sure. I think Gup's got him doing demos nearly
Dream Team,
Dream Team stuff most of the time. And look, he does that thing. He kills it set. Well, but look, how going around sort of obviously how he goes at Summernats, I've really, and I think the last couple of years, I don't.
Has he skidded Summernats?
I don't know. I actually don't know on that one.
I don't know if he has. That will be an interesting one to see.
So it'll be interesting to see also, obviously, I've just noticed Gamble always up there and always makes it through. So it'll be there's a couple of good names there that could definitely go through.
That'll be a new engine, won't it? Unfortunately.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
So, all right, let's go into the next list, which is the Masters list.
This one is huge.
Obviously, with Summernats being called off last year, we have now had a couple of comps in between, but obviously we've had Red Summernats. I think we had
Rocky Nats.
So a couple have got in from there. Then you've got all the ones from the previous year as well.
I mean, events have been few and far between, but I guess definitely enough to make quite a large list here.
So what we do, we have Warren Giakowski in One Tough HT, Crane Stephen in To The Limit, John O'Kelly in 355, Robbie Cottrell in Ford Haters, Alex Hurst in Bad HT, David Davis in Bag 'Em Up, Matty Watts in the Blow 202, Daniel Catalano in Blown 40, Chris Smallman in Blown VY. Now you got the two brothers, I think, double entering these cars. So Derek Coulson in Borrowed and Paul Coulson in Borrowed. So you got Joe Goschalk in Bugzilla, Matthew Newland in Burnout, Joshua Rendell in Can Fry, Ken Davis in EPA Who. You've got Kyle Priestley in Filthy V, Brad Scroop in Frothin, Shane D'Amato in Ghetto, Brad and Britt Kilby in Hammer Time, both of them made through, Casey Tolcher in High Risk, Andrew Paul, I Blown, Dom Lucci in Light 'Em Up, Jack Seaman, Loose Q, Ricky Fuller in LS1, Kyle Douglas in Luxifer, Andrew Lynch in Lynchy. I think you've got the rest of the list there.
I sure do. So then we go Joe Tyler in Matured, Nelson Granger in McFry, Matthew Hughes in Monster, David Cafone in Novakill, Clinton Perry in On Grog, Mark Siracusa in On It, Letitia Chuntai in Party Time, Jake Myers in Sicko, Stephen Edsall, Skid Ute, Jesse Barbella in Skeeter, Adrian Cuthbertson in Skidmar, Wayne Dorr in Slylux, Darren Bromwich in Smokin' You, Michael Pratton in Spastic, Jay Chuntai in Tiny Towin, Guy Clare in Tough 4 Leader, Jonathan Murphy in Tough 20, Phil Kajin in Tough Street. Is it Toughest or Tough Street? It's Tough Street, isn't it?
Toughest, I think it is.
Okay, all right. Mick Brasher, Illegal, Darren Kimber in Vicious, Brett Pearson, VY Knott, Mark Waddington, Warbird, Stephen Cliff, Ranger, and Bradley Moore in Big Time.
All right, what a list.
Yeah,
So,
huge.
it is
A lot to digest there.
Look, I can see there's a few guys that have been in this Masters list before, so you can, if you have a look through the list, there's quite a few guys that are always there. There's quite a few new guys, though, that I've been really interested to see how they go. Look, the ones that I think, for me, the first one that really comes to eye because of a change of going from an NA to a supercharged application is Shane D'Amato and Ghetto. He had a pretty good outing at the recent Summernats. The car seems to be on song.
He had a good outing at Bansdale.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He won Bansdale as well. So, I mean, it is a new combo. He's managed to get a few skids under his belt. And,
I mean, he got a pretty good hold of it pretty quick too.
Yeah, look, the car sounded on song in the burnouts at Summernats. Unfortunately, he went on the bit onto the dirt. He wasn't too happy about that, but we know Ghetto's. He put his full effort in. He wasn't happy with himself on that one.
It's all or nothing, though, isn't it?
That's what it is sometimes. But look, I've seen that car come from. He was top. I think he was sixth or seventh when he did it naturally aspirated in the Masters.
Okay,
a couple of 2 or 3 years back, and for me, I think he's got to hold that car. He knows how to drive it. Yes, he's probably almost double the power, but he's really grabbed a hold of it pretty quickly, and I think he'll definitely be one of those guys to look out for. I reckon, look, to me, you can't really go past the guys that always seem to make it. One, Warren Jakowski, Alice One, Rick Fuller.
Yep.
Blown, Andrew Pooley. I tend to find he's always there.
Consistent, very consistent.
Yeah, right. Look, I can say Jake Myers.
Yeah, definitely.
I think for him, if he can get in, he can often have a big finals round.
Yep.
I think the last one where Rick won, I think it was just not all there. Yep. Like the revs were there. I just think the burnout wasn't as good as that. Mind you, the year before when he won, I don't think you could fault that burnout. I think that was textbook.
Was it the year before or before that?
I think it was the year before.
Okay.
So I think that was textbook for me.
Yep.
That was a textbook skid. Revs were there. Everything was there. So I can't see him. I think you're going to find him a regular in the Masters.
Oh, for sure.
And
he realistically already has been.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, look, for a guy, and it comes up a lot, hey, he's got a blown car, blah, blah, blah. And I find that a lot of the time when people say it's a blown car, hey, he's been given this, if you actually see it behind the scenes, and I watch a lot of the stuff he does, and he's always constantly working with his old man, getting everything, spending the time on the car. But not only that, you've got a blown car, it doesn't make a difference. At the end of the day, if you can skid, you can skid.
Exactly. Yep.
I think, to me...
Doesn't matter how you get there. If you can skid, you can skid.
That's right. At the end of the day, you don't want to go bouncing off every walls. And I don't think I think only once I've ever seen him maybe scratch the tiniest a bit of a bumper.
I think from memory he hit the wall at Summernats.
I think that's the first time, and I think that's the only time I've ever seen that car have any sort of things on it.
Yep.
And I think that was a minimal scratch on the bumper. You can correct me, Jake, if I'm wrong. But but look, to me, I find that it's probably a personal thing that I find, that people have a go at him because he's been lucky enough, but he works hard. And behind the scenes, obviously that whole family works hard, and that's always a good thing. So I think we may even be having a chat either in the coming weeks or after Summernats. We might have a chat to the family and see how they're going. Next one, Steve Etzel. I believe he won the last one in the normal, and then that brings him into the Masters for this one. So
very clean drive, very consistent.
Oh God, that car's loud.
Oh yeah.
Being pad side with that car, it's not a good thing. It definitely does. It definitely does. Anyone else that I think the same with Skidmar. That thing
Yep.
is bloody loud too. So I think he's a guy to look out for. Anyone else that you can?
Look, I think, yeah, really one of the only sort of other ones that I'd say would have a chance. And this is nothing against them as a driver, but I feel like it's very much pending on how the others do, because this is a very consistent driver that, provided the opportunity's there, they'll make it in. I mean, at the end of the day, if you've got the 10 best, and one of those drops out there, are definite for making it through, and that would be Brad Kilby in Hammer Time. I find him, when he's on, he's on.
Yeah.
And the car is strong. And yeah, I think that you've got some extremely tough cars here, and it's hard to say that you'd sort of put him up the top with them. But as everyone knows, it's Summernats. Anything can happen. I mean, we've seen the best completely bin it.
Yeah.
So I honestly think he's going to be one of the ones in the top 10.
Yeah.
Because he's a great driver. I think, obviously it's just, I feel like it's that, honestly, the blown NA gap right there.
I think there's always been a couple of guys over the years. I think if you think back, Shane himself made it in.
Yep.
Frasher made it in. I think, and Frasher actually had his alternator or something go wrong. He ended up not driving in the finals. Lynchy is always one where he's a win it or bin it guy.
It's on or off. It's hit or miss.
That's right. Like I love Lynchy, and he always is balls to the wall, which I love. But at the end of the day, he's either going to do a perfect skid, which he's done on multiple occasions, or he's going to maybe just touch a wall or something like that. It's one of those things. With the way he drives, that's the nature. Like
he takes more risks than any other driver out there. I think it's that whole, I think it's to a point. It's a not caring factor.
Yeah.
Where he knows that he's really got to not care and push the car to limits to do well, being that, he's up against some of the best with blowers, and there he is, NA. And again, that's that blown NA bridge that unfortunately you get.
I have seen that car actually start, I think, in the last couple of years, really to get more smoke. Yep. Now, recently, as I think the last UBC in WA, where he took Rick Fuller to the line, like it was that close that his smoke score was there. Like, obviously, those guys are two guys that win on sort of putting it all over the pad. They drive to the pad, they drive to that. Rick Fuller is one of those guys that sort of, I believe, he just goes, he has it almost in his head. I think Dutchy always does it when he's commentating. I know he's going to go there. Whereas Lynchy, I think, throws it in and then tries to decide where he wants to go mid through his skid.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference between that. And I think Lynchy, as I said, can win it, or sometimes you can touch the wall. It's never 100%.
It happens.
Hey, and I think Lynchy is just more about having fun. And I think that's the big thing that has really come out. Like, he really enjoys the sport. He loves the crowd, and I'm sure the crowd loves him. So
I've noticed a couple here. Speaking of NA, a couple of NA guys I think we've overlooked. Two South Australian boys, Dave Cafone and John O'Kelly.
Yes,
I mean, both very strong NA cars, and I don't know about Dave Cafone because obviously it's a newer car. I know he's definitely done the Masters before in the Chevelle.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think he has in the Nova. But John O'Kelly, we've definitely seen him do very well in
big revs
before.
And big revs in that thing. If I remember rightly, I'm pretty sure as recently as Red Summernats.
Red Centre, yeah.
I don't know if it was last year or this year. He had massive revs, and it was just sounded on song. I know Dave was up there this year, but I don't know actually who won that one.
I think, from memory, I actually think John O'Kelly might have won it.
He might.
And I think One Tough HG was second.
Yep, and I think Novakill may have got third.
It's possible.
Yeah. But with that, the other one I can see is Ken Fry. The XE.
Yep.
So that's always, he's from New South Wales. That's always on song. Kev Davis as well.
Yeah.
I don't know which engine he's got because there's had a few issues over the last couple of things, whether it's going to be the LS1 or the one that's from down here.
Well,
so
we can only wait and see. Although there's a couple cars on here that I don't think will make the Masters, but are still very, very good from what I've seen. Obviously, Matt Watts,
yep.
very strong driver. I don't think the car's to the caliber of a top 10 Masters.
Look, the car is an amazing car. The problem is
100%.
you're talking about a car that possibly has half, maybe even less than some of the power of these cars.
Correct.
It sounds amazing. It does get on it. It's not, you can't throw it as hard because the old 202, even though it's singing, it just can't. It can't be as more the smoke for me. Definitely it's the smoke that has that.
I think the smoke's his only letdown.
Yeah, he drives the hell out of it. He definitely does. So, but yeah, the smoke is the one thing for me. I think that he may struggle with over these big blown cars.
Yep, 100%. And then Bradley Moore, big time. I mean, at the end of the day, you look at the caliber of cars, and he's very much the underdog. But from the burnouts I've seen him do, he definitely knows how to work that car.
Can't say no about Ranger either. I think that's a car that always do it. It's a big, ugly car. Sorry, but Nissan Patrols aren't meant to be honest. But he always does good. The other one that I think is the biggest wild card is Brasher. He's now got a different motor in there, as we all know, and everyone's teasing him, go back to the chef. He was a really good driver for many, many years and still is. I'm not saying he's not now. Just the fact that he probably hasn't been on that pad for quite some time. He's got plenty of other things happening while it is, and I think it'll be interesting to see how he goes. I think the few times I've seen that car run, it's definitely been creating some smoke. I think his own show, this year, it actually sounded all right. But
yeah, that's a hard one. I mean,
will it create the smoke?
I just don't know. That's the problem. And I mean, it's not anything to do with the combo, because it's a combo that, I mean, it's been done before. It's just, I guess it's just a case of them getting the hang of it. And I mean, going for the whole blown rotary setup is one thing, but then to go for blown rotary and I believe turbo.
Oh, is it?
From what I've seen, I believe yes, it's blown rotary turbo. Right. And I think that's going to be a whole other challenge.
Last thing we want to go over is some results. So obviously Summernats.
Yeah.
So I believe they're trying to push maybe for a 2-day event in February,
which will be
which we'll see how that goes. As I said, nothing's confirmed until Winton says to go ahead. But exactly. I believe that everything went quite well. So we had burnouts overall. We had Russell Harris in loose. I believe I was there. He was the final skid and just took it out. Very, very close between him and CM Blow. I honestly believe it was roughly a point or so in the end. In the V8 class, we had X5 leader James McGregor. I have now given him a new name of Angry Bird. He knows I've called him that because I think it's the first time I've actually really looked at him, and he looked like he wanted to throw Angry Birds at everyone. So it was just the way he did it. And then
great skid though.
It was a good skid. So runner up was Aidan Least, who's probably the complete opposite, is the most laid-back driver of the day in Joyride. So he looks like he's just relaxed and taking his time. And then, as I said, it was quite funny that both of them actually come from...
Well, actually, I haven't seen the footage of Aidan's skid yet. If you have footage, please message it to me, because I have not seen it and I would like to watch it.
All right, so 6-cylinder class, Mark Ansaldi in Barra 6. So I actually had a few people message me about this saying, why didn't Numbnuts win? Adam Slorek, I believe, was still building the engine the night before and just put it straight in. So there was a few things that he had a few issues with. So, I mean, it wasn't the most perfect skid, and I think he had a bit of a fuel issue. So on its turn, it was sort of losing a few bit of revs and stuff like that. So that's what happened on that side of things. All right, so power skids. Winner, Shane D'Amato, Ghetto. Massive power skid, massive smoke. First half, second half, still went to the line, kept going. The runner-up is Fast GMH. Matt Smalls. I think Matt may have had to have a change of underwear after his run.
Oh, bit sketchy.
Oh, look, he continued going a little bit after the line and locked them all the way up, and I think he may have even got into the dirt. So
very easy to get carried away.
It is definitely. And it's actually funnily enough that all weekend, both those cars in the power skids, they were just out there having fun the whole weekend. So the show and go winner actually was Matt Smalls, with the runner-up being Shane D'Amato, Ghetto.
What is show and go? I still haven't quite got a grasp of it.
Okay, so for me, what show and go was a car that is good, like it has got all the sort of show and shine sort of stuff in it, which we know Matty's car has a lot of, like it is, a lot of work has gone into that car. It looks amazing in and out. And it got out there. That was the other thing, the go. He ran in the roll racing. He had to go at the power skids. He didn't do the burnouts, but that's not something that car does.
Yeah.
You know, so he was in the event. I don't think there was a lap that he could have missed going out. Like he literally was out there every run he could get. Yeah. Shane was the same. Like he was out there. Obviously, he did skids and power skid, not roll racing, and the same thing. He was doing that, spending that time doing that. So I think they did for a one-day event. As I said, the last event was the roll racing. So the winner was Jamie Watson in Hypo HQ, bright green HQ, actually from this area. So southeast. He's I believe him and his old man have a shop in Cranbourne, exhaust shop. So that I believe is a LS turbo powered car. So did really well. Had a lot of traction issues early on, but once the tyres were warm, I think he started to clearly beat some of the cars. So the runners-up was actually, now I don't know the name of the gentleman. You can tell us on this later on, but it was actually an LC GTR, which I believe had an RB in it. It's a silver one. So
RB.
So, yes, that was fun watching those two. I actually thought the GTR had him, but on the line, the HQ got him. So
I never got roll racing.
I actually, you know what? I actually enjoyed it. For the first time actually watching it, they had, I couldn't tell you, 20 metres, 30 metres to get up, or 40 metres to get up to 60. It was 40 Ks. We did it. Yep. And then it took off. The best thing about that for Winton is there's no launching. So there's no creating, it's not breaking the track. And I think that's the reason why.
For something like Winton, but I mean, they do it at drag strips too, and I never got it. to me, that's sort of taking that initial difficulty of trying to hook up out of it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's plenty of people that love it. I mean, look at the events there.
They're big in Sydney.
Massive,
it is
massive
big
events,
in Sydney. Like I see the guys always doing it in Sydney on a Friday night. Look, I think it was a good thing for the track. I mean, no offence. Many years ago at PCM, I remember seeing a drag strip down the middle of that and watching cars launch over some of the bumps that are in that centre. And I could tell you that right now, that was the sketchiest thing I think I've ever seen. I'm actually pretty sure Jamie was one of the guys who won it many years ago, but he could probably confirm with me on that one. But I'm pretty sure I saw it was one of the last BCMs, a car actually get at least a little bit half a foot off the ground, 6 inches off the ground. So I think they did well, the roll racing. It's definitely different. I wonder how to go for a 2-day event but and what they would add. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. So
hopefully it goes ahead because I would like to.
many more events. Like I'm pretty sure there's the guys now. I don't know what the thing is. It's part of the Keep It Reek guys, and that I think are doing a event as well. Also, sometime in March or April.
I think from memory it was April because I'm pretty sure Rickson sent me a Snapchat about it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to happen. So like we're starting to get more events in Melbourne, and as I said,
I mean, recently there was 3 on in coming up. There was 3 planned for one single weekend, all in Victoria, and unfortunately, I think the Portland one got cancelled because not enough entries. But I mean, at least that's signs of things picking back up.
Yeah. So as I said, if you guys have an event, it doesn't just have to be burnouts. We have spoken about burnouts a fair bit today.
Yes.
Whether it be drag racing, drifting, time attack, all those sort of things. As I said, today we're talking about burnouts, I think mainly because Summernats, Supernats has just happened and stuff like that.
I mean, that is...
Well, that's
a lot of our background. So
yeah.
That's...
So, but if you've got anything that you want to let us know, got an event coming up, obviously it doesn't have to even be a driving event. It can be a show and shine. My background is I run Ute Nats and Wagon Nationals, which we'll be running in the new year as well, which will have videos and stuff like that as well.
I'm going for that Feral Ute Award this time.
I think you were not too far off it last year, but we'll see how we go.
I will win.
So we'll see how that goes. But as I said, let us know how you're going. Give us a like. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube when we put it through. And
all the usual.
All the usual, modcons. Share it.
I mean, I hope we're going to get more socials up in the next month or 2.
Yeah.
But that's on me because I'm more the IT guy than you.
That's right. All right. Thank you very much, guys. It was good talking to you.
Like and subscribe.
Look and subscribe, yes. Have a good one.